Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, voice you know with the news you trust studio, sponsored by Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Dale Minyo. Today's weekly crop progress update is brought to you by AgriSpray Drones, empowering rural America through complete spray drone solutions. Contact them at agrispraydrones.com/Arnold Precision. Let's jump into the Ohio numbers first. The topsoil moisture is 19% adequate across the state, 36% short, and 45% in the very short. The corn in the dough stage now at 93%. That's 9 points ahead of the 5-year average. Corn dented at 64%, 24 points ahead of the 5-year average. Corn considered mature at 14%, 11 points ahead of average. The corn harvested for silage is now at 31%. The 5-year average is 19%. Soybeans dropping leaves at 19%, 15 points ahead of the 5-year average. The alfalfa third cutting hay is at 90%, 10 points ahead of average. And the other hay third cutting at 79% is 27 points ahead of the 5-year average. The soybean crop condition in Ohio is 46% good to excellent, 31% considered fair, 25% into poor to very poor. Corn crop condition for Ohio, 42% considered good to excellent, 31% falls into fair category, and 28% into poor to very poor category. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
A frontal boundary trying to come in here late week is the only exciting part of the forecast, I guess, this morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at your forecast update. We are pleasant again today, full sunshine, low humidity values, temperatures warming a bit from what we saw yesterday, but nothing that is really all that impressive. It's a beautiful early September day. Moving into tomorrow, humidity values up just a little bit, but still comfort not too shabby. We have a frontal boundary that tries to come through as we hit tomorrow. Well, actually, I guess it's Friday, midday, afternoon, and forward. This front takes its own sweet time arriving here, but once it does, it wants to stay a minute. So I think we see on-again, off-again rain showers from Friday afternoon through Friday overnight and through the first part of Saturday. We may not be fully out of the moisture plume until late Saturday afternoon into early Sunday. Rain totals 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch in general, maybe an inch in spots, but I think it's going to be widespread, the haves versus the have-nots, 80 to 90% coverage across the Buckeye State. Behind it, we are dry and pleasant for Sunday and cool and pleasant for early next week, Monday, Tuesday, before temperatures moderate Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But I can tell you we're dry fully from Sunday right on through next Friday and into Saturday. So the moisture that we pick up late week and into the start of this weekend is going to have to last us a bit. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. As we turn to those national crop progress numbers, the corn crop in the dough stage was estimated at 90%, 2 points behind last year, but right at the 5-year average pace. Corn dented was estimated at 60%, 2 points ahead of the 5-year average. And corn mature was pegged at 19%, 7 points ahead of the 5-year average. The crop condition was 65% of the crop rated good to excellent, same as last week, but still above last year's 53%. In soybeans, the soybean setting pods were estimated at 94% nationally, the same as last year, 1 point ahead of the 5-year average. Soybeans dropping leaves were pegged at 13%. That's ahead of the 5-year average of 10%. Now, the crop condition in beans, 65% were rated good to excellent condition, down 2 points from the previous week, but still above last year's rating of 54%. Spring wheat harvest progress had harvest picking up speed last week, jumping ahead 19 percentage points to now reach 70% complete as of Sunday, and that is right at the 5-year average pace. And that's this week's look at the weekly crop progress numbers. I'll have more after this.
Get ready for the 62nd Annual Farm Science Review, September 17th, 18th, and 19th. It's more than a farm show. Explore over 600 exhibitors across 2.6 million square feet, providing equipment, services, and education for farms of all types and sizes. Tickets can be purchased at participating OSU Extension offices and agribusinesses, as well as online. Visit fsr.osu.edu to buy your Farm Science Review tickets now and plan your show visit. We look forward to seeing you at the 62nd Farm Science Review, September 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Soybeans grown in Ohio and across the heartland are meeting the feedstock demand for clean fuels. Biodiesel is a clean-burning and reliable fuel that enhances engine life, power, and mileage. Plus, this high-performance fuel works in any diesel engine without modification. With biodiesel, we fuel the economy, do good for the environment, and support soybean farmers. Learn how using biodiesel can add value to every bushel of soybeans grown at soyohio.org. What should farmers be thinking about this time of the year? Joel Penorwood has more.
Harvest not quite here yet for most of Ohio. It is that time of year to be thinking about what we're going to be planting in 2025. Specifically, what soybean varieties we're going to be choosing for our farms. Rob McGuire is an Ag Solutions advisor with BASF, offering some tips to consider when evaluating those new varieties.
The standability is going to be the first thing you notice. It's kind of like your first impression of the bean. I look for good standability for highly productive acres, muck acres, and those types of places where beans can get tall. If you can find a bean that's going to handle multiple different water scenarios, drought scenarios, soil conditions, you've got a bean that's probably going to be pretty widely used. I really start to trust a bean when I've seen it do well in the wet environments and still hang in there in those drought environments. Especially if I see that bean in an ideal situation, hang in there with the best of them. So if I can find versatility with top end, we're really talking at that point. I'll add to that this year has been really wet depending on where you're at and really dry depending on where you're at. So it helps you learn quicker. So get out there in these extreme years. You can learn a lot from them.
And learn a lot more on what to look for in the latest in the Amplifying Ag video series from BASF, online now at ohioagdet.com. We're talking new variety evaluation. I'm Joel Penorwood for the Ohio AgNet.
And thanks, Joel. On the calendar tomorrow midday, learn about the latest in soybean crush expansion in Ohio and what that means for biofuels opportunities. On Friday, we'll check things out at Mercer Landmark hosting their third annual Agro Expo. That's at the Laddie Agronomy Facility in Paulding, Ohio. To learn more or to attend, visit agroexpo.com. Also mark your calendar, the Wayne County Fair and Certified Angus Beef, inviting you to visit the Wayne County Fair. It runs September 7th through the 12th. An old quip has it that everybody talks about the weather, but nobody does anything about it. The same could be said about food waste, or rather, could it have been said before South Korea gave it a try? Despite efforts to solve the problem, between 30 and 40% of the food farmers grow is wasted rather than eaten. For what seems like decades now, the statistic everywhere quotes has basically remained unchanged. A third of the food the world's farmers produce is wasted. Oh, sure, sometimes the number's nearly 30 and other times closer to 40, but it's generally within a few percentage points of a third. If somebody's doing something about it, then it's not working. Governments insist they want to bring the number down. In June, for example, the Biden administration put out a fact sheet listing what it's done about the problem and what it plans to do. Some of these things, like easing restrictions on giving unused food to food banks or clarifying the meaning of best buy dates, seem like good ideas. Whether they'll move the needle much off a third is yet to be seen. It seems food waste isn't a problem governments are well equipped to solve. In developing countries, some of what farmers raise never makes it to someone's table. The produce falls victim to poor transportation, infrastructure, and lack of refrigeration. Fixing these problems costs money developing country governments don't have. In rich countries, the causes of waste include large restaurant portions and unwillingness of many consumers to buy fruits and vegetables that aren't picture perfect. Governments can raise awareness, but they can't make people eat all the food they buy or give what they don't eat to someone who doesn't have enough. Back with Market Talk after this.
Your health and safety are of the highest importance to your friends at the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation. That's why creating safe work environments in agriculture has never been easier. BWC's free safety consulting services provide training and education for everyone in your work family. It's always a good time to make safety a priority. Visit bwc.ohio.gov and click on Safety Services or call 1-800-644-6292. The Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation has the safety resources you need.
While you're out at the Farm Science Review this year, be sure to stop out and see the Ohio's Country Journal and Ohio AgNet crew at our Red Barn located at the corner of Corn and Market. You can visit with our team, enjoy some freshly popped popcorn, and get some free giveaways and renew your Ohio's Country Journal subscription for a chance to win a giant TV. There will be games for the whole family, and you can watch a live recording of our Ohio AgNet podcast and the midday and afternoon broadcast from the Farm Science Review. We'll be visiting with folks from Home and Equipment, Morton Buildings, and even talking mental health. That's at this year's Farm Science Review. Be sure to stop out and say hello.
Today's market's brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Let's recap yesterday's closes. December corn, $4.09 1/4 cents, up 8 1/4. November soybeans, $10.12, up 12. September wheat, if you're carrying it, up 19 1/4, which brings you to $5.52. If you're looking for next July 25, it's $6.03 1/2, up 13 3/4. Time now for the Louis Dreyfus Grain Analysis, brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished the Tuesday trading day mostly higher. Saw double-digit gains in soybeans, up anywhere from 6 to 9 in corn. Wheat double-digit gains as well in Chicago and KC. Minneapolis was the laggard on the wheat side of the equation. Yesterday, there was a reported sale of 132,000 to China for the 24-25 marketing year. This continues the frequency that we like in soybean flash reported sales. Volumes have been paltry, but we're slowly stacking it up. Rumors were surfacing that China purchased another 6 to 9 cargoes of U.S. beans on the overnight activity, so we will see when we get confirmations of those sales rumors. Last week it took a couple of days for rumors to become reality. Hopefully, if it was 6 to 9 cargoes, we do see some higher volumes reported on the flash side of things. There was some unwinding of long stock short commodity spreads by hedge funds yesterday. Corn futures did push to above the 50-day moving average, so oil bounced. Canola futures edged off of limit losses. Why was that a big story? Well, remember, we had a tit-for-tat Chinese trade war starting to develop with Canada and China. Canada last week putting the new tariffs on EVs out of China, electric vehicles, and China retaliating with opening an anti-dumping case, or I guess you should say a dumping case, against Canadian canola. So it is, again, a tit-for-tat kind of scenario there, and that's really helping the soy situation, well, especially with corn and soybean margins in China being where they are. We're looking at other issues on the weather side of things. Weather's going into a drier pattern once again, maybe a frontal boundary here in the eastern Corn Belt for later this week, particularly Friday afternoon into Saturday. Is it enough for anybody to care too much? Probably not. Crops are speeding along toward a swift harvest right now. Also, some Trump comments on China over the weekend got the market a little bit excited as well. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. As we turn to the overnight figures, we give a little bit back. September corn down 2.5 at $3.84. The December is down a penny at $4.08 1/4, and March corn down 3/4 cents at $4.26 1/2. The September soybeans are unchanged at $9.97. November new crop down 7 1/4 at $10.04 3/4. The March soybeans down 8.5 at $10.35 1/2. September wheat down 0.5 cent at $5.51 1/2. July new crop is up 2 1/4 on the overnight at $6.05 3/4. Hold that till next September, and you're $6.16 1/4, up a penny. In livestock, October cattle, $179.27, up 67. December, $178.85, up $1.30. And February, up $1.12 at $179.57. October lean hogs up 30 cents, trading $82.52 at yesterday's close. December, $73.80, up $1.02. And February, $76.32, up 95 cents. October feeder cattle, $239.32, up $1.57. The November feeder cattle up $1.37, trading $236.62. And September Class 3 milk this morning is down 3 cents at $22.54. October Class 3 milk, $23.24, and that is down 1 cent. That's the latest look at the markets, and quite a roller coaster in the last 2 days. We'll see how harvest pressure and weather continue to weigh on the market. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, everyone. I'm Dale Minio. This is the Ohio AgNet.